Welcome dear students. Today we are going to continue our leftover portion of the chapter Landscape of the Soul, authored by Nathalie Traore. In the previous lecture, we discussed the story of this chapter and covered up some textual portion. Yes, so far we have come to know about Wu Daoji, a famous Chinese painter who existed in 8th century. He was such a skilled painter that he created a painting for Emperor Zhuangzong's palace to decorate that, and the painting was so spiritual that was last painting. And after creating that, after entering that landscape, that painting, Wu Daoji never appeared in this world again. Okay, that was his last painting, and that was his last physical appearance in this world. Thereafter, Wu Daoji has never been seen by anybody on this planet. In this coming passage, we are going to learn the difference between the Chinese painting and the Western painting. A classical Chinese landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view, as would a Western figurative painting. So what is the difference between the Chinese painting and the Western painting? Western paintings produce a figurative image, okay? They produce a realistic image of something, of an object, whereas the Chinese paintings are the classical paintings, they are the classical landscapes. They are they are connected to spirituality, okay? They belong to inner essence of our soul, whereas Western paintings are figurative and they create illusionistic likeness. Next is, whereas the European painter wants you to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it from a specific angle, the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. So as we have already discussed about this point, that a European painter always would want the viewer to view his painting from his viewpoint, that is from painter's viewpoint, from one angle, from a particular angle, from a particular direction which the painter wants, okay? The viewer cannot view it freely from any direction, any angle, any viewpoint, okay? So in that case, we have to borrow the painter's eye, means we have to look at the landscape, look at the painting according to the view of the painter. We are not free to view it from any direction. Whereas the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. They allow the viewer to view his painting from any angle, from any viewpoint, from any direction, because their painting is the painting of spirituality, abstract painting, that is not concrete one. His landscape is not a real one, okay? That is not a concrete one, and you can enter it from any point, any angle, any direction, then travel in it, you can go in it, you can feel its beauty and ecstasy. The artist creates a path for your eyes to travel up and down. So in Chinese painting, the painter creates a path, a way through that painting, so that you can travel in it up and down. You can feel as if you are really walking in that place, okay? Means इतने स्किल्ड होते हैं चाइनीज पेंटिंग कि वो अपनी पेंटिंग के अंदर आपको एंटर करवा देंगे, एंड देयर आफ्टर यू कैन वीव ऑल द क्रिएशंस देयर एज you are enjoying in a real world, okay? Then back again, he would take you back again from that painting in a leisurely moment, means very slowly you can enjoy that painting from any angle. This is even more true in the case of the horizontal scroll, in which the action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move on the other, adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting. So this is specific about Chinese painting, that they can make you view his painting like a film strip, okay? You can scroll it up and down horizontally and view it from any angle, in any direction, with the dimension of time added in it, means there is unity of time, place and action. time, place and action means these all unities are clubbed together, they exist together in the Chinese painting. एक टाइम के अनुसार आप उसमें किस जगह को देख रहे हैं, कौन से व्यू पॉइंट को एंजॉय कर रहे हैं, मीन्स आप ये सब उसमें फील करेंगे. देयर इज नो कंक्रीटनेस, दिस एब्स्ट्रैक्ट, ओके, समथिंग इमेजिनेटिव, कैन से मैजिकल. It also requires the active participation of the viewer who decides at what pace he will travel through the painting. A participation which is physical as well as mental. So in Chinese painting, the viewer is required to be present there physically as well as mentally, so that he can decide his own pace, his own speed of watching that पेंटिंग. ओके, अपने स्पीड के अनुसार, अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के अनुसार वो उस पेंटिंग को समझ सके. सो उसमें फिजिकली एज वेल एज मेंटली उसकी प्रेजेंस जरूरी है. द चाइनीज पेंटर डज नॉट वांट यू टू बोरो हिज आईज. ओके, इन चाइनीज पेंटिंग यू आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू व्यू द पेंटिंग बाय द पेंटर्स व्यू पॉइंट. यू आर फ्री टू व्यू दैट पेंटिंग बाय योर ओन व्यू पॉइंट. ही वांट्स यू टू एंटर हिज माइंड. द लैंडस्केप इज एन इनर वन, ए स्पिरिचुअल एंड कंसेप्चुअल स्पेस. So the Chinese painter wants you to connect your spirit, your soul with his soul, and then start weaving the landscape or the painting. Okay, his painting, his landscape is an inner one. Okay, this is related to your inner soul, innate soul. This is spiritual one, and it is having a mental concept. Okay, it is having a mental concept, means you need to understand it by your spiritual connectivity, your mental connectivity with the painter's mind and spirit. You need not borrow his eyes, rather you need to connect your spirit with his spirit. You need to connect his spirit with his spirit. The concept is expressed as sensui, literally. So this Chinese painting philosophy is given a name known as sensui. This is the Chinese philosophy of painting. Sensui means mountain water. It is made of two things. Okay, mountain water, which is used together to represent the word landscape. So sensui is the philosophy of painting, which means landscape, and it consists of two things, mountain and water. Mountain, more than two elements of an image. Okay, these represent two complementary poles. So mountain and water are two complementary poles of Taoist view of the universe. Wu Daoji had a different view of this universe. Okay, his philosophy was different from others, and he considered these two objects, that is mountain and water, as two complementary poles, means one cannot exist in the absence of other. Both are required to exist simultaneously. Later, the mountain is said to be yang in Chinese language. Reaching vertically upward heaven means yang is something which reaches vertically up towards the heaven. It is stable, immovable, it is warm in nature and dry in the sun. While the water is yin, and water is said to be yin, which is lying on the surface of the earth horizontally. It is fluid in state, moist and cool in nature. The interaction of yin, the receptive feminine aspect. So Daoji has said that yin and yang, that is mountain and water, are two aspects of this universe. Yin is the receptive feminine aspect of universal energy, means yin here stands for feminine parts, female part of this universe and this universal energy, whereas yang is its counterpart, which is active and masculine in nature, that is male part of this universe. So for the existence of this universe, these are the two essential elements, that is yin and yang, feminine aspect as well as masculine aspect of this universe, is of course a fundamental notion of Taoism, and this is the principal idea of Taoist viewpoint of this universe. दाओ ने इस यूनिवर्स को इस नज़रिए से, इस इम्पोर्टेंट आइडिया से और नज़रिए से इसको देखा है, जिसमें यांग एंड यिन दो मेन एलिमेंट हैं इस यूनिवर्स के, और उनको एक को मैस्कुलिन और एक को फेमिनिन माना गया. ओके, what is often overlooked is an essential third element. So apart from these two elements, yin and yang, there is one third element which is very essential and which is almost not seen by all of us, the middle void where their interaction takes place. This is the third element, is middle void, a middle empty space, fully empty, okay, where the interaction of this feminine and masculine aspect of this universe takes place. They interact there. That is the third element. This can be compared with the yogic practice of pranayama, and the author here has tried to make us understand these elements of this universe, that is the yang, yin and the middle void, which is the where the interaction of these yin and yang takes place. He has compared these with the pranayama practice. Pranayama, in pranayama generally what is done, we breathe in, breathe out, that is we inhale the air, exhale it, and in between we sustain the breath. बीच में हम सांस को रोकते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ प्राणायामा. ओके, दैट टाइम वी मेडिटेट. सांस को लेते हैं अंदर, थोड़ी देर के लिए रोकते हैं, फिर छोड़ते हैं. जो रोका है हमने उस पीरियड को ये मिडल वाइड से कंपेयर किया गया है, एंड दैट इज़ वेरी एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ प्राणायामा, बिकॉज ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम वी कैन फील आवर that is throbbing of our head, beating of our heart and movement of our pulse. The suspension of breath is the void. Okay, this is the suspension of breath where we hold the breath for a certain time just after inhaling and before exhaling it out. The void where meditation occurs, and during that suspension of breath, that is the time when we hold our breath, this meditation parts takes place. मेडिटेशन अगर उस समय हम मनन करते हैं. द मिडल वाइड इज एसेंशियल, नथिंग कैन हैपन विदाउट इट. दिस इज वेरी एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ दिस प्राणायामा, एंड विदाउट इट्स एक्सपीरियंस इट इज ऑलमोस्ट ऑफ नो यूज. Hence the importance of the wide unpainted space in Chinese painting. Similarly, as the middle void and the meditation part in our, that is suspension of breath in our pranayama is essential, in the same way there is a unpainted part, that is white space in Chinese painting, Chinese landscape, which is very essential, which is also of a great importance in the Chinese painting. That white or unpainted space is not unpainted, or you can say it also carries an importance in its essence. This is also very where man finds a fundamental role in this world, in these two elements, that is you can say between the heaven and earth, yang and yin. In pranayama, the human being has an important role to play in this universe. Okay, in that space between heaven and earth, he becomes the conduit of communication between both poles of the universe. So these are the two poles of this universe, that is earth and heaven, and in between these two poles of this universe there is a third element exists, which is human being. And human being acts as a conduit, means channel of communication. हेवन और अर्थ के बीच में ह्यूमन बीइंग एक कम्युनिकेशन का चैनल के रूप में काम करता है, विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ दिस यूनिवर्स और फॉर द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ दिस यूनिवर्स. His presence is essential, even if it is only suggested, far from being lost or oppressed by the lofty peak. He is, in Francois Chang's wonderful expression, the eye of the landscape. So Francois Chang की एक wonderful expression है the eye of the landscape. उसमें इस जो ह्यूमन बीइंग का जो रोल है उसको डिस्क्राइब किया गया है. उसमें कहा गया है कि फार फ्रॉम बीइंग लॉस्ट और ऑप्रेस्ड बाय द लॉफ्टी, द presence of human being in this universe is very essential, even if he is far from being lost, means it can never lost, its existence can never lost from this universe. It is so essential, and if it is overburdened by the lofty peaks, by the high peaks in this universe, by the reliability, responsibility, then only his existence is equally essential. He can never disappear from it. And the eye of the landscape is an excerpt from Landscape of the Soul, एथिक्स एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी इन चाइनीज पेंटिंग स्लाइटली एडिटेड, इसको थोड़ा सा एडिट करके लिखा गया है, एग्जैक्टली वर्ड टू वर्ड इसमें नहीं दिया गया है, बट दिस इज एन एक्सेप्ट फ्रॉम द लैंडस्केप ऑफ द सोल. Next is getting inside outsider art. So outsider art, that is art, but how it came to existence, how its importance was, known to the people in this world. So how it could find its space in the mainstream painting. Let us know. When French painter Jean Duffet mooted the concept, mooted means thought about, discussion, okay, the concept of art brut in the 1940s. Art brut means raw art. Raw art means an art which is at its initial stage, kacha you can say, okay, unripe. In the 1940s, the art of the untrained visionary was the minority interest. So in 1940s, a French painter Jean Duffet thought about it, the concept of this raw art or art brut. At that time, it was hardly carrying any importance for some people, okay, hardly some people were interested in art brut. And what is art brut? Art brut is a kind of painting in which a painter is not trained, but he creates something out of box by the virtue of his skill, by the virtue of his talent. From its almost wild beginnings, outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing era of interest in contemporary art internationally. Contemporary art means as on date. This art brut has spread almost across the globe. Though it was having a स्लो पेसिंग इन द बिगिनिंग, स्टार्टिंग में बहुत धीरे इसका जो है ये स्टार्ट हुई और इसका बहुत कम यूज हुआ, बट एज ऑन डेट आज के दिन पूरे विश्व में ये बहुत तेजी से फैल चुका है आर्ट ब्रट, ओके. मैनी पेंटर्स क्रिएट द पेंटिंग बाय देयर ओन स्किल विदाउट एनी ट्रेनिंग अंडरगोन. This genre is described as the art of those who have no right to be artists as they have received no formal training, yet show talent and artistic insight. Dear students, ये जो genre है आर्ट ब्रट, इसको उन लोगों के बारे में बताया गया है, मीन्स दिस बिलोंग्स टू दोज पीपल हु हैव नॉट टेकन एनी ट्रेनिंग ऑफ आर्टिस्ट और आर्ट बिकॉज दे डिडंट have any right to receive this education training, okay. They were not having any right to undergo any formal training of painting or learning art, but this was their talent and artistic insight. From inside they were very talented, they were very skilled about the art. Their works are a stimulating contrast to a lot of mainstream offerings. So their art of painting, that is art brut, raw art, is put in contrast. It is today being compared with the lot of mainstream offerings, mainstream painting. जो मेन पेंटिंग है, जो ट्रेंड पेंटर्स है, उनकी पेंटिंग से इनकी पेंटिंग की एज ऑन डेट तुलना की जाती है, इतने अच्छी पेंटिंग वो बनाते हैं. अराउंड द टाइम Duffet was propounding his concept in India, an untutored genius was creating paradise. Years ago, the little patch of jungle that he began clearing to make himself a garden sculpted with stone and recycled material is known to be the world today as the Rock Garden at Chandigarh. So when Jean Duffet was propounding me, suggesting his idea to the world about his art brut, कि आर्ट ब्रट भी कोई अलग से आर्ट है जिसको हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, उसी समय इंडिया में एक अनट्यूटर्ड जीनियस मीन्स अनट्रेंड जीनियस पेंटर उस समय अपनी पेंटिंग के स्किल पे और उसके एक्सपीरियंस पे एक पैराडाइज क्रिएट कर रहा था. यहाँ पे ही वॉज क्रिएटिंग ए हेवन ऑन दिस वेरी अर्थ. व्हाट वाज दैट पैराडाइज? ही क्लियर्ड ए पैच ऑफ जंगल, ए स्मॉल पीस ऑफ जंगल, ए jungle was cleared by him, right? And thereafter he make himself a garden sculpted with stone. Recycled material is known to the world today as the Rock Garden. So उसी समय ये नेकचंद सैनी जिसका नाम है, वो चंडीगढ़ में एक जंगल के एक एरिया को साफ़ करके वहाँ पे स्टोन से छोटे छोटे टाइल पीसीज, प्लास्टिक, वाट एवर वेस्ट मटेरियल वाज देयर, रिसाइकल्ड मटेरियल जो भी है उसका यूज़ करके और उन्होंने रॉक गार्डन तैयार किया जो कि आज वर्ल्ड फेमस है, एंड दैट इज़ लोकेटेड इन चंडीगढ़. It was created by Nekchand Seni. Let us know it. Its 80-year-old creator director Nekchand Seni is now hailed as India's biggest contributor to outsider art. So this was created by 80 years old creator director whose name was Nekchand. He belonged to Chandigarh and he had contributed a lot in this outsider art, that is art Brat. It is very important. What is outsider art? What is art Brat? Raw art, you must know it. The 50th issue spring 2005 of Raw Vision, a UK based magazine pioneer in outsider art publications, features Nekchand and his rock garden sculpture Women by the Waterfall on its anniversary issues cover. Women by the Waterfall is a creation by Nekchand in his rock garden Chandigarh. Okay, and there is a magazine named as Raw Vision, spring 2005, Raw Vision. It is a UK based magazine and it publishes the issues about the outsider art. It publishes the outsider art and the features related to it. So इस मैगजीन ने 2005 का जो स्प्रिंग का जो इश्यू था, इसका पब्लिकेशन था, उसमें नेकचंद और उसके रॉक गार्डन की जो वुमेन बाय वाटरफॉल है उसको अपने मैगजीन के एनिवर्सरी इश्यू का जो पब्लिकेशन था उसके फ्रंट पेज पे या कवर पेज इसको बनाया था. ओके, सो किसी भी मैगजीन का कवर पेज होना अपने आप में एक बड़ी बात होती है क्योंकि वो डेफिनेटली कोई टॉप लेवल का जो क्रिएशन या फिर हाईली इम्पोर्टेंट जो पॉइंट्स होते हैं उन्हीं को वो अपने उसमें मैगजीन कवर पे छापते हैं. सो नेकचंद सैनी दिस वाटरफॉल women by waterfall was given space on the cover page, so you can understand its importance. The notion of art Brat or raw art was of works that were in their raw state as regards cultural and artistic influences. So art Brat and raw art includes the items which are recycled, which are in their raw state, which are not being furnished, painted or molded. Okay, they are as in their natural state. They are being used directly to create something new. Anything and everything from a tin to a sink, whatever, let it be a tin box, a sink, to a broken down car or a damaged car could be material for a work of art. Means ये सब चीज़ें आउटसाइडर आर्ट या आर्ट ब्रट के जो वर्क है उसमें हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं. टूटी फूटी कार या टिन और सिंक, एनीथिंग लेट इट बी. Something Nekchand has taken to dizzying heights. Okay, and these were the things with the help of those Nekchand created rock garden and he took art Brat to the new heights, amazing heights of creation. Okay, recognizing his art as an outstanding testimony of the difference a single man can make when he lives his dream. The Swiss Commission for UNESCO will be honoring him by way of European exposition of his works. So this is being said in, or this is being written in the Hindustan Times of 28th August 2005 by Brinda Karat. हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स जो न्यूज़पेपर है उसका 28 अगस्त 2005 का जो पब्लिकेशन था उसमें बृंदा सूरी जो एक कॉलमनिस्ट है उन्होंने ये लिखा है. ओके, उन्होंने लिखा है इसके बारे में कि नेकचंद सैनी की जो ये आउटस्टैंडिंग जो आर्ट है, ये टेस्टिमनी मीन्स आउटस्टैंडिंग दस्तावेज हैं इसके जो एक सिंगल आदमी अपने सपने को पूरा करने के लिए क्रिएट कर सकता है. ओके, जिसने एक नया डिफरेंस क्रिएट किया, अपने आप को एक नए अंदाज में पेश किया इस दुनिया में, उसको उन्होंने उनको सम्मानित करने के लिए, ऑनर देने के लिए स्विस कमीशन फॉर यूनेस्को उनको ऑनर देंगे बाय वे ऑफ यूरोपियन एक्सपोजिशन ऑफ हिज वर्क्स. किस तरह? उनकी जो वर्क्स हैं उनको यूरोपियन एक्सपोजिशन बाय वे ऑफ ए यूरोपियन एक्सपोजिशन ऑफ हिज वर्क्स, और वो यूरोपियन एक्सपोजिशन मीन्स पूरी यूरोप में उसको एक्सपोज करेंगे, मीन्स उसको दिखाएंगे, डिस्प्ले करेंगे। हाउ? द 5 मंथ इंटरेक्टिव शो रीम ऑफ नेकचंद, उसका शो का नाम होगा रीम ऑफ नेकचंद, और वो 5 मंथ्स तक कंटिन्यू चलेगा वहाँ पे विद द इंटरेक्शन ऑफ पीपल। बिगिनिंग अक्टूबर विल बी हेल्ड एट लीडिंग म्यूजियम्स इन स्विट्जरलैंड। सो ये इन दी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ में ये शो होने वाला था रीम ऑफ नेकचंद के नाम से, जिसमें उनके ये जो उनके अपने आउटसाइडर आर्ट के जो काम थे वो दिखाए जाने थे, और वो आने वाले अक्टूबर में, क्योंकि ये अगस्त में स्टार्ट हुआ था, दिस वाज पब्लिश्ड इन अगस्त, मीन्स ये 28 अगस्त का न्यूज़पेपर था। सो उस समय वो कह रहे थे कि आने वाले अक्टूबर में, मीन्स अक्टूबर 2005 में ये जो शो हैं ये स्टार्ट होने वाले हैं लीडिंग म्यूजियम्स ऑफ स्विट्जरलैंड में, बेल्जियम में, फ्रांस एंड इटली। दे वर द मेन countries where Reign of Nekchand was going to be staged. The biggest reward is walking through the garden and seeing people enjoy my creation, Nekchand says. But Nekchand says that for me the biggest reward, the biggest honor is that when people walk through my garden and watch my creation and they enjoy my creations, that is the biggest reward for me. मेरे जो रॉक गार्डन से लोग घूमते हैं, वो मेरी द्वारा जो बनाई हुई चीज़ें हैं, जो क्रिएशन है, उसको देखते हैं, उसकी सुंदरता को निहारते हैं, इंजॉय करते हैं और उसको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, वही मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा रिवार्ड है, वही मेरा सबसे बड़ा इनाम है। दैट इज़ ऑल अबाउट दिस चैप्टर। सो यू हैव लर्नड अबाउट द यूरोपियन पेंटिंग, द चाइनीज़ पेंटिंग and third painting, that is outsider art or Art Brut. So who was the hero of Art Brut? Nekchand. He belonged to Chandigarh. What kind of paradise he created? He created rock garden by his artistic skill and by using raw material, recycled material. Okay. सो वू डाउजी का जो व्यू पॉइंट अबाउट पेंटिंग, रॉक गार्डन के बारे में, एंड यूरोपियन पेंटिंग का जो व्यू पॉइंट है, दैट इज़ वी नीड टू कैरी दी और वी नीड टू बोरो द आइज ऑफ ए पेंटर टू व्यू द यूरोपियन पेंटिंग, वेयर एज इन चाइनीज पेंटिंग वी नीड टू कनेक्ट आवर स्पिरिट और सोल विद द स्पिरिट एंड सोल ऑफ द पेंटर. We can enter the Chinese painting from any direction, any angle, and we can view it from any viewpoint. This is the difference, major difference between these paintings. So dear students, I hope you have understood this chapter. In the next, yes, I would like you to answer these questions on the basis of this chapter we have read. Okay, at least these 4 questions you must try to answer them. Thank you. Have a nice day.